You know you've made it big when a 3-hour biopic like Oppenheimer nearly makes $1 billion. Somehow, Christopher Nolan has figured out how to make artistic films that are a hit at the box office. Typically, when you think of big blockbusters, the movies that come to mind are filled with action, superheroes, lightsabers, chicken jockeys, or nostalgia. I don't think anyone was desperately waiting for a team-up movie with Oppenheimer and Albert Einstein. Christopher Nolan movies have depth and substance while being a huge action spectacle. He makes movies that feel like Marvel-level events, but they often become part of the conversation of Academy-level films. And while I think the Oscars are a BS award show where celebrities smell their own farts, it's worth noting that Christopher Nolan has received the recognition he deserves from just about everyone. But how did he achieve this status? You could say he just made great movies, but I think there's more to it than that. How did we get to the point where people are buying tickets a year in advance just to see The Odyssey in IMAX? How did we get to a point where every A-list actor is thirsting to be in a Christopher Nolan movie? Let's go all the way back to the year 2000. While I don't hear tons of people talk about Memento, it certainly helped put Christopher Nolan on the map and remains to this day a cult classic. It's such a fascinating story about a man with amnesia that can't remember what happened the day before. Christopher Nolan used this plot device to tell the entire story out of order. The way his mind works is unlike any director. He even has a video where he explains this entire thought process on how he brought this story to life. And it's a continuous occurrence of his standalone movies where you ask yourself, how the hell did he come up with this? I almost wonder if he's on the spectrum because the way his mind works in crafting a story is unlike any other filmmaker. He doesn't just make big blockbusters, he makes mind-bending movies that make you question everything. But of course the thing that really put him on the map was Batman Begins. He was the first one to crack the code in making a Batman movie that takes itself seriously. While it didn't allow Nolan to create a movie that's mind-bending, it still feels like a spectacle. It's shot beautifully, it has an epic score, a dark tone, and it feels incredibly mature. It was also the first grounded Batman movie where we felt like this character actually existed. It still had comic book elements with some of the villains and the city of Gotham itself, but it felt realistic nonetheless. Christopher Nolan delivered a huge win for comic book fans. Then The Dark Knight came out, and everyone lost their minds. And I mean everyone. I've met so many people that hate comic book movies and consider this one of the greatest movies of all time. It showed us what comic book movies can be beyond just a CGI movie of characters fighting. It's a crime thriller that keeps you on the edge of your seat. The way it balances different plot threads in order to build up to one epic third act is just one of the many reasons me and many other people love this movie. The shots, practical effects, and intense drama take the quality to another level, and Christopher Nolan was the first one to be able to do this. As for The Dark Knight Rises, I'll save that for another video. So at this point, a lot of people saw him as the guy that made those great Batman movies. What's even more impressive is his ability to make mind-bending movies like The Prestige, Inception, Interstellar, or Tenet, which made my brain hurt. These are movies that make you ask questions, and while they're fictional stories, they have this sense of grounded realism that immerses you in the world he created. Inception is such a off-the-wall, crazy idea. This is the kind of movie your friend would present to you during a smoke sesh. Bro, what if you could go inside people's dreams? Yet somehow he made this insane idea into a masterpiece. A movie that is mapped out and has its own set of rules. The whole narrative structure is something that could only come from a mind like Christopher Nolan. This is a movie with a deep emotional story, beautiful shots, and performances that deserve recognition. And the best part is, it was a summer blockbuster. An original movie with artistic value that everyone went to see. Christopher Nolan was becoming the guy to make you ask, how did he come up with this? His movies are something that everyone has to see or else you're missing out. And the fact that each movie has to be seen in IMAX, regardless of whether or not it's an action movie, just makes these feel like huge events that can only be seen in theaters. I don't know if any other director values the theater experience more than this one. I think a lot of people were wondering if he could capture the same magic after the success of Inception and the success of the Dark Knight trilogy, and then we got Interstellar, which is more than just a mind-bending movie. It's heartbreaking. It's the most emotional movie he's ever made, and that's another reason these movies go beyond being just another popcorn flick. Interstellar is such a crazy sci-fi movie that feels so real because of the use of practical effects and genius writing. He managed to make a movie that explains these crazy ideas that feel like they're possible instead of just brushing over those details. Although Interstellar is a sci-fi movie, it never felt like it to me. For me, it's a drama that's character-driven and pulls at your heartstrings and makes you ask what you would do in that situation. This is one that seems to be a lot of people's favorite, and I don't blame them. The use of time is so fascinating and adds this level of suspense and stakes, similar to what we saw in Inception. And I've noticed that time has been a concept that Christopher Nolan plays around with a lot. He shows different perspectives of time passing in different speeds and directions. It also makes me wonder who Christopher Nolan's drug dealer is. But let's put those mind-bending movies aside and look at some of the work he's done based off of real-world events. My biggest regret is not seeing Dunkirk in the theater. I thought war movies were overdone and I already knew the outcome. The good guys win, the Germans lose, the Decepticons go back to space, and everything works out in the end. Little did I know that this movie, like so many of his others, would keep me on the edge of my seat the entire time. You can feel the tension throughout this entire movie. It tricks you into believing that you don't know what's gonna happen. It's incredibly intense and shot in a way that only Christopher Nolan would shoot it. It's instantly recognizable when you see it. All the big blockbusters he had released up to this point had contained some form of action, which is why it's so impressive to me that he was able to make a biopic about Oppenheimer and turn it into a huge summer blockbuster. He was able to make a movie about some nerd making bombs and make it feel like an action movie. He was able to incorporate a level of suspense, and he created a visual spectacle that effectively uses sound like it's never been used before. This is a loud, intense movie that takes you for a ride. It's so insane that everyone showed up to this because it was a Christopher Nolan movie. And this was still a movie that needed to be seen in IMAX, even though it contained no action whatsoever. I can't think of a director that loves IMAX more. If Christopher Nolan was filming a sex tape, it would most likely be shot in IMAX. Practically every actor wanted to be in this movie just to say they starred in a Christopher Nolan movie. The amount of appearances from famous actors in this one is insane and almost felt distracting at times. Like, what the hell is Josh Peck doing in this one?
I see the problem. Oh, do ya?
And here we are now with his upcoming film, The Odyssey, based on an old story that we probably all read in high school. No one has been desperately asking for an Odyssey movie, but everyone wants to see a Christopher Nolan movie, which is why some people have gone to the theater just to see the trailer. It's why some people have bought their IMAX tickets a year in advance because they have that much faith in this filmmaker. They know this will be an event. He's been able to generate box office numbers similar to comic book films, but his movies check off all the boxes of what you would expect out of a 5-star film. He will go down as one of the greatest filmmakers of all time. I hope you enjoyed this Christopher Nolan glazing session. What is your favorite Christopher Nolan movie? Do you think he's overhyped, or do you think he doesn't get enough credit? Let me know in the comments down below, and let me know if there's any other directors you would like me to make a video essay about. So, yeah.
Bah!